All right, welcome back to our seventh part on force fetch in our DIY dog training, looking at areas and showing you through the force fetch process. Today's a big day. I think we got a lot of good things going on today. I'm very excited about this video because I think we're gonna see some big progress today. And so, kind of following along with the plan I've been doing. Again, it's been a week, 10 days since my last video. In that 10 days, he probably got worked 6 or 8 times, and has really kind of got a nice, clean delivery to hand now. He's holding nicely. He's walking nicely. Really happy with that. You also notice that Aries has still got a very good, happy attitude. I've got the today I've got the frozen blue wing teal. If you, I think I talked about this a little bit in past, but what I do is about every blue wing teal that I shoot, I take the head and wrap it around and freeze it. And this makes a great object for dogs, especially when we're doing force fetch, because it allows us to be able to put an object in their mouth that's hard, but small enough it's easy for them to handle. Some people use frozen pigeons. You could use a quail. Anything like that would work. We happen to shoot quite a few blue wing teal, and so they're nice. They're free because we can harvest them locally, and use them, and it gives a real scent for the dog. So first thing, before we start throwing around the bumper, I want to talk today. We're going to be doing e-collar fetch today. It's going to be kind of a major part of what we're talking about. Just as a reminder, we did do some e-collar work with Aries back earlier in the earlier parts of our videos. And so I'm using the exact same collar setup. I'm going to go ahead and put this on my forearm and put it on the usual setting. Make sure that I can feel this. See, right there, it wasn't on. Right there. And I felt it, and it feels very normal, very appropriate. Does not feel painful. Feels a tingle, so I can feel it. So I know our e-collar is good. So we're going to go ahead and get the collar on Aries. Remember, I like to have the receiver off to the side. I don't like the receiver right under their throat. If you do that, it can kind of pinch their windpipe, makes it very uncomfortable. It can make it harder. It can restrict airflow. We don't want to do that. Okay, so we got the e-collar on. It's important that we put the e-collar on first because we want the e-collar to be part of the fun stuff, right? So we're going to get out the bird here, the blue-winged teal. Now, we've been doing our warm-up activity where we've been tossing the little bumper or the bird or whatever for him to go pick up, and he's been pretty playful with it. Now, what we're trying to do all along here is when he has been bringing it to me during this playful stage, I've been using the commands here, heel, sit, and give, using the same words. And when he does it, I use the commands. If he's not doing it, then I didn't say the commands. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to help him understand that I want him to do it properly. Let me show you how that's going to work. So first, I'm going to come over here to a spot. I'm going to tease him a little bit. I'm just going to give the duck a toss over here. And he's probably going to be a little bit playful. All right, you can see he's being playful with it here. He's kind of thinking around. Good. Good boy. Good. Give. Now, in all fairness, he actually, we worked through this last night and I wasn't recording. And I didn't know if he would get it right on the first try. But he played there a little bit, but then he came in to heel and held it nicely for me. All right, so he's understanding what we want. So if I give this a toss, all right, good boy. Here, heel, sit, good dog. Good. Give, good dog. Now, if your dog is not doing that, what you want to do is when the object is over here on the ground, if he's being playful with it, okay, we're going to just come over here, all right, and we're going to put it in his mouth. Just put it right in his mouth from here, and then command here, heel, sit, good boy. So go ahead and just do it as if we are sort of replicating that, that force fetch action, right? So Aries really, I got to tell you, good boy, give. There's a point when you're doing this where the dog is going to have the light, come on, right? For Aries, that was last night. I can usually predict when it's going to happen. With him, he did it a little bit quicker than I expected. And so him putting it all together happened in our last session. So he's nicely picking up and coming in to heel. And that is the process that we call delivery to hand, meaning that he's coming all the way to the heel position, sitting there nicely, holding the bird. Don't drop it until I take it from you. All right, so he's delivering to hand very nicely. Now, that was, if you remember, back at the beginning when we talked about kind of our precursor to force fetch, that was one of our major goals, is to deliver to hand. Now, you can actually stop here if you want, once you've got the dog delivering to hand. However, for the case of Aries, we're going to continue on, and because this process keeps going. What you'll see is that what we're teaching him in force fetch is going to extend into the next phase of his training, right? So what we're doing here now is we're going to help him understand that I want him to pick something up on command. So object one, deliver it to hand nicely without dropping, okay? Objective number two is we want him to fetch on command. All right, so that's what we're going to work on now. I'm going to show you how this is going. All right, and we've been doing this all along by saying the F word when we have an object in front of him. So remember, we started with our hand, and then he carried the hand, and then we did the stick, and he carried the stick, and then we went to ear pressure to get the fetching mechanism to teach him to fetch, and then we talked about how we manage pressure, so if he's trying to avoid us, right? Well, now what we're going to do is we're going to put it all together, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to be using fetch with a stick, but now we're going to get away from being reliant on the ear pressure. So what we do with that is we're going to do this with the e-collar, okay? So the purpose of the e-collar is to remove me from having to physically touch him. This makes it so, of course, I don't have to be standing right beside him to get him to fetch if he gives me a refusal, right? Now, most dogs that do this are pleasers. They tend to want to do this for you, all right? Most Labradors, anyway, are like that. Other breeds are different, and every dog is different. But most dogs are going to want to please you. And if they understand what you're trying to do, they're probably going to do it. And so the e-collar is really just to enforce the idea that I want you to do it even if I'm not standing next to you. So let me show you how we do this. I'm going to bring the camera in so you can get a good look at what I was doing. Okay, so when we are doing e-collar fetch, good boy, sit. All right, what we're looking at is we're trying to do literally Pavlov classical conditioning. All right, so when we started the ear pressure, right, we squeezed with the object in front of him and he fetched. Good boy. So we're saying we're trying to classically condition the pressure to the fetching mechanism. So I'm saying fetch to try to pair the action of fetching with the word. That's dog training, right? So now what we're going to do, is we're going to pinch and apply ear pressure ear pressure and e-collar pressure at the same time. Okay, now this is a little bit tricky. You got to have some hand-eye coordination, and it's really like it's very timely. So what I do, and there's a couple different ways for doing this because you really almost need three hands for this. But what I do is I control the transmitter with my thumb and kind of the base of my hand, and I'm going to put the fetch stick between a couple of fingers, right? So I am holding the fetch stick and the transmitter in one hand, and then I can hold the dog and apply ear pressure with my left hand. Okay, now I'm right-handed, so this works best for me because I'm most coordinated with my right hand, and I can apply the e-collar pressure and hold the stick in one hand. That's kind of the tricky part. I've also seen some setups where you can put you could almost fit in the end of this. There's like a PVC pipe. You could almost fit that in there, and that would free up a hand. I've actually done it that way too before, but at the moment I'm using this stick, and it's working just fine. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put this in front of him. I'm going to pinch, and I'm going to say fetch. And as soon as I said that the word fetch there, I applied a low e-collar stem. So he felt the pressure on the ear and the e-collar at the same time. So what we do here is we want to pair these things, and we're going to do it exactly the same way we did the ear pressure. Give. So we start with it right in front of him. Then we're going to go down here to the ground. Fetch. Right? And then he's going to take off and walk because he knows he's supposed to go walk after he does that. Good boy. Here. Heel. And I'm not crazy about this going behind me thing. We'll have to address that in a minute. Good. Give. So the idea is pretty simple, right? So we are pairing the ear pressure with the e-collar in order to use the e-collar to help him to understand that the e-collar pressure means fetch. So now, once we get that done, usually it comes along very quickly. Most dogs, once you get this part done, understand that it's not so much about location, it's not about me being in the way, but rather it's about the understanding the command. The word fetch means fetch it up. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put this down here, and what you're going to see is I'm not even going to have to go to the ear. So I can put the stick down here on the ground. Fetch. Good boy. Good. Here. Heel. Sit. Good dog. Good. All right, and that's what we want to see. We want the dog to be able to use the command and the e-collar pressure to pick the object up. Once you get to that step, you're home free. All right, you're going to be doing good because now we can put the stick anywhere we want. Right now, I have not done this. This will be the first time doing this. I'm going to put the stick out in front of us, and we're going to walk up to it and say fetch and get him to pick it up. And if not, if he gives me a refusal, I'll show you how we fix that. Before I do that step, though, I want to point out something that he's doing. He's getting into a little bit of a habit here that we need to address, and that is coming into heel. And I don't know if I ever made this clear, but when the dog is coming back to us, we want the dog to cross in front of us and come over to heel. We do not want the dog to go behind. In the hunt test world and in the gun dog world, it's much better if the dog stays in front of us. We don't want them to go behind. Because when they go behind, if they drop the bird back there, or if you take your eyes off of them when they go behind you, or they're more likely to run into your leg and drop the bird, right? We want them to come in front to come into heel. Plus, that's going to help us when we're doing future handling drills, and it'll make more sense as we get going through that. All right, but we want him, don't go behind, come straight in and sit down. All right, so now I'm going to see if we can get him to fetch on the wall while we're healing, while we're doing heel. Good. Sit, please. Sit. Good. Good boy. Good. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and set this on the ground right here. Okay. Fetch. Good boy. Good. Here. And he wants to go behind me, but we're not going to let him do it. Heel. Sit. Good. Now right here's a good example of a little tweak. Okay. I don't know if you can see it in the video or not, but the bumper is cockeyed in his mouth. If you get that, just simply readjust, good boy, and let him hold it properly, okay? Sometimes they get in a hurry to snatch it, and we want to encourage that nice perpendicular hold so that they have the best grip. That's the least likely to drop. Good boy. Give. Good dog. Okay, so he did really well there. He's understanding that this needs picked up. All right, and so I'm going to roll it out in front of us now, like this. Good boy, fetch. Good. Here. Heel. Sit. Good dog. Good boy. Good. Give. Good dog. Okay, now we're going to restrain him because he's doing a good job of fetching, but we want him to understand he's anticipating, okay? This is good. We want the dog to anticipate, I need to pick this up. But we also need him to understand he needs to do it when I say it, but not jump the gun, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to restrain him so he can't go out. I'm going to roll it away from us. Good. We're going to wait a second. Good boy. All right, and when I'm walking up here, I'm going to say the word, and I'm going to apply the the low pressure e-collar, and he should snatch it up. Let's see how it goes. Heel. Fetch. Good boy. Heel. Sit. Good dog. Good. Now, you might also notice I'm kind of doing a ole, like when he comes back, because I don't want him to hit my leg with the bumper. I'm trying to help him out, to not let him drop. Now, later on, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make him have a firm grip, and not drop, even though he's got it, and make him hold. Give. Good boy. Okay, one more time. Going to roll away from us. Good. Heel. Fetch. Good dog. Heel. Heel. Sit. Good boy. Good. Give. Good dog. All right. Now, that was a pretty good boy, so we're going to give him a toss with his duck here. See if we can get one more with his duck. Heel. Heel. Good. Good. Let him get his duck. Here. Heel. Sit. Good boy. Give. So this is major progress. I am very happy with this. This is where we see the dog has really put together a lot of concepts. We've taken the entire retrieve process and broken it down into little infinitesimally small steps so that he can be successful with it. And you can see what's most important to me is not the success, but look at his attitude. Tail's wagging. He's looking at me like, okay, boss, what are we doing next? Right? If you do this process correctly, your dog is not going to be resentful. They should not be mopey. They should not be sad. Some dogs are. Some dogs are more sensitive, and that may happen. But we want to see this. We want to see a dog that likes the process, that's having fun, that is being successful, and has put together a lot of complex steps. So at this point, what we're going to do is the next step is we're going to take force fetch outside, okay? Because we're doing really well with this. Actually, I shouldn't say that. We're gonna do one other step before we go outside. But right now, this is where we can really say, okay, he's made some huge strides, and we're very happy, and now we've got a lot we can build off.